Brett Cooper, a creation of the Daily Wire, as their new it girl when they launched her channel back in early 2022, making it look like she was an ordinary teenage girl making YouTube videos in her bedroom with few people knowing that she was actually at the Daily Wire's headquarters studio on a set that they built for her. Okay. And I'm not saying this to discount her talent or the quality of her content. Obviously, it's not my cup of tea, but I do recommend anybody with teenage daughters or college-age daughters subscribe to Brett because she does great work, is a great conservative content creator. But as a media analyst, I tell you how these things actually work. And she, you may recall, quit the Daily Wire last year when her contract was up, making big headwaves in conservative media, leading many people to wonder why. Was it the money? Was it that she just didn't want to be a part of Conservative Inc. and branch out and do her own thing? And she launched her own independent YouTube channel, quickly accumulated well over 1 million subscribers, and has continued with her conservative culture war type of content. And yesterday she proved that she is not a Ben Shapiro clone and shocked a lot of people, sounding exactly like us, and now is being called a Nazi and anti-Semite by the usual suspects. I'll play the clip in just a moment, and while she didn't name little Ben specifically, probably out of respect for her former employer, it's kind of understandable. We all know that Ben Shapiro is one of the clowns leading this kosher circus that is now dedicated to smearing anyone who isn't involved in Israel's problems as an anti-Semite.
So the Republican Jewish Coalition Conference happened this weekend, and watching all of those speeches literally made me feel like we are living in the middle of a sitcom, but it's worse.
If you missed it, check my video yesterday, by the way. This is where like Mark Levin and Congressman Randy Fine and turncoat Brandon Tel Aviv Tatum all got together and labeled Tucker Carlson the most dangerous anti-Semite in the world.
It shouldn't be funny. It's not funny because these Republicans are using the exact same tactics that the left has been using against us for years. And they believe that they are saving conservatism, and they're worried about what they perceive as radical, dangerous ideas taking over conservatism and our political party. But it really just seems to me like they are deepening the divide on the right as they ignore the obvious shift in ideology and attitudes of their base.
A shift meaning most Americans have Israel fatigue. We're tired of giving billions of our tax dollars to a foreign country. We're tired of getting involved in their problems, in their ethnic land disputes, in their wars. And no amount of guilt-tripping or name-calling from Jewish extremists is going to change that.
You can scream all you want about Tucker Carlson, but you will never attack him into irrelevance. In fact, by doing so, you might just make people love him more.
We're gonna call you anti-Semites if you stop giving billions of dollars over to Israel. We're gonna call you anti-Semites if you keep watching Tucker Carlson's podcast. We're gonna call you an anti-Semite if you run for Congress or any political office and you don't go over to Israel and pray against that wall and post a photo on your social media.
Oh, stay tuned because there's plenty more. And I haven't even shown you the best clip from Brett Cooper's show, but real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here and check back on a regular basis because obviously you're not gonna find original and authentic content like this anywhere else. The best part was when she said this about Republican Congressman Randy Fine, who is like the Republicans' new favorite token Jewish congressman.
He's a representative from Florida. He's the same guy who bragged about not washing his hands after he had a handshake with Netanyahu. He's repeatedly introduced bills to criminalize anti-Semitism, infringing upon free speech. I mean, he obviously, I'm sorry to say, but he obviously cares more about Israel than he does, principles like free speech. So, buddy, like, my advice to you, Randy Fine, is just move to Israel at this point. Like, considering you had to go through anger management classes a few years ago, I genuinely think you would probably be happier if you just moved to Israel. And that's not a dig at him. That's just a fact. It's a nudge of encouragement. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be healthy. I think you would be happier if you just moved to Israel. You could be over there singing songs with Mike Huckabee.
Now that takes guts. And have you noticed which of the big brand name conservatives, and even those who portray themselves as being independent, Benny Johnson, haven't weighed in or defended Tucker Carlson against these terrible slanderous attacks by these Jewish extremists? And here is Congressman Randy Fine, in case you missed my previous video yesterday, so you know who it is that she's talking about. What a whack job.
Because if we stay silent in the face of what is coming, not only on the left, but on our own side as well, our time in this country could come to an end as well.
You may be wondering, and the answer is yes. He is insinuating that Jews might get kicked out of America if they don't stop people from criticizing Israel.
Jews have been kicked out of every country we've ever lived, and it's never been our own fault. And there are people who would like to do the same to us here, and unfortunately, some of them are in our own party.
I got kicked out of over 100 bars all across the country, all around the world, but it was never my fault. This is the same clown who also said this at the Republican Jewish Coalition over the weekend.
Today, Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous anti-Semite in America.
He's the most dangerous anti-Semite in America because Tucker Carlson has a podcast where he interviewed right-wing streamer Nick Fuentes last week, as you probably know, to try to learn why he's resonating so well with Generation Z young men.
We're so blinded by your ridiculous, insane hatred of Tucker Carlson that you cannot see how irresponsible and hypocritical you are being. I mean, these tweets from Ted Cruz, I'm going to read you next, are a great example of this. So just a month ago, he tweeted this. He said, "They don't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. Political violence is a left-wing phenomenon. Enough is enough. We need to shut it down."
Well, usually it's a left-wing phenomenon, but now the kosher conservatives, the extremist neocon right, are adopting leftist tactics to try to scare Tucker Carlson and others into silence, or I'm sure that they really couldn't care less if they become victims of violence. In fact, here's how Dan Crenshaw really feels about Tucker Carlson, something that he revealed when he thought that the interview was over, but the camera was still rolling.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. If I ever meet him, I'll probably kill him. He's the worst person.
When either that reporter or someone on the crew posted online that Dan Crenshaw said that, he denied it and called them a liar, and so then they posted the footage proving, as usual, that the neocons are guilty of the very same thing that they accuse others of themselves, just like the left.
Arrgh, I'm Dan Crenshaw. Can you please respect Israel? Can you please respect the Jewish state in the Middle East? Or you walk the plank? Can you please support a war in Iran? Arrgh. There be treasure. There be treasure in Israel. There be treasure in AIPAC.
So Tucker Carlson interviewing a talented young streamer gets him kicked out of Conservative Inc. But when Dave Rubin, Conservative Inc.'s token gay guy, announces that him and his husband both bought eggs from a fertility clinic and then had women artificially inseminated with those eggs so that they could both have children, that's great. In fact, here is Daily Wire host Jordan Peterson sitting down with him to talk about how amazing and innovative this is.
Children who are breastfed do better.
Yep.
I believe that 1 year of breastfeeding is equivalent to, I think breastfed kids have a 5-point IQ advantage.
Now, obviously, he's pointing out the fact that these poor children will not have their mother in their lives, won't even know who their mother is. And so he's trying to say, well, you know what? That's not a big deal because Dave Rubin has figured it out.
And 1 point IQ is worth 1 year of education.
I have
Basically.
2 freezers in my garage, 2 industrial freezers full of breast milk. Because
Right,
that's
right.
Who,
So-
David
so-
has done all the research on this.
Right. So
Yep.
another complication, but okay. And so
It's just a complication, but it's fantastic. In fact, during this interview, Dave Rubin revealed that before him and his husband decided to do this atrocity to these children, he called Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson gave them his blessing.
But roughly speaking, women tend to do the nurturing thing more and men do the encouraging thing more. So now the question is, how do you mediate? How do you manage to fulfill both those roles in the absence of a heterosexual arrangement?
Now,
Yes.
you know David pretty well, and we've been out to dinner with Tammy many times.
Yeah.
David is his husband's name, so it's Dave and David.
And you know him. He is incredibly warm and nurturing and loving and deeply cares about all of those things. And I'm telling you, he is reading about skin-to-skin contact
Yeah,
every day
yeah.
and all of the breast milk stuff and everything. And I know he will have a huge percentage of the stuff that a mother would bring. But
hey, don't worry, folks, that these poor kids aren't going to have a mother in their lives or know who their mother is because of the privacy policies regarding egg donation, because his husband is very warm and nurturing. And little Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson's boss over there at the Daily Wire, thought that the war in Iraq was very warm and nurturing too, writing this column back in 2005 for WorldNet Daily, why the war in Iraq is right for America. What he means is it's right for Israel. That's why we went there, is not because Saddam Hussein posed any kind of a threat to us, because he posed a threat in the future. If he did build his WMDs, then he posed a threat to Israel. What's a threat to Ben Shapiro himself, however, is getting asked tough questions, which is why he only debates dumb college kids. Here he is a couple years ago promoting one of his new books, when he stormed off of the interview when the interviewer dared to ask him a tough question.
It's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that
well, it'd be
society...
nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is... Well, actually, I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question. Your book
frankly,
claims
I don't think
that
this,
society is turning its back
sir,
on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah,
what are those values? What are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
That was the question which caused him to walk off set. Not any question about his favorite country or any of the double standards regarding his ilk, but because he was just asked a basic question about his book. But little Ben was given a friendly interview with the Jerusalem Post lately, where he said that a conspiratorial right is rising in America. U.S. political commentator Ben Shapiro, in a candid conversation with the Jerusalem Post, says, "You get a lot more likes and clicks if you are promoting an anti-Israel, anti-Jewish agenda." Nobody likes you, Ben, because you're a lying little weasel. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity or your religion, and everything to do with the content of your character. Here he is lying about what happened to Jesus.
You know, from a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ, I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written...
He was just a prophet. Right?
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think he was?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble. Just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
Oh, the old trick that the Romans did it. It wasn't the Jewish leadership at the time who conspired in order to get the Romans to do it for them, as the Bible clearly states. Pontius Pilate didn't offer to free the man and then have the Jewish townspeople say that they would rather have Barabbas freed. And this also shows how dumb Joe Rogan is, because he clearly didn't know, and I'm sure still doesn't know, the Jewish view of Jesus. Oh, you guys thought that he was a prophet or something? No, Joe, those are the Muslims, actually. Something that you'll never hear on mainstream conservative news. Muslims believe that Jesus was a prophet. Muslims believe that Jesus was born of a virgin. Muslims believe that he's going to actually be returning at the end of time to defeat the Dajjal, what they call the Antichrist. On the other hand, Jews think that he was a false prophet, a liar, and a fraud, and the bastard child of Mary, who had an affair with a Roman soldier named Panthera. And don't even get me started on the war on Christmas. It's far too soon for that. But maybe next month I'll have to pull out this clip of the Ginos, the Jews in name only over at the ADL, complaining that still in public schools, a lot of teachers have kids do arts and crafts projects where they draw pictures of Santa Claus. But it's not too soon to order your Trump Claus knit sweaters from my online store at markdice.com, or click the link in the description below, because these are custom orders. These are made to order, so I'm getting all the orders in over the next 3 weeks, and then they're going to be knitted up. So these are not printed designs on a sweatshirt or on fabric like most t-shirts. This is actually woven into the design. And so you can get them in red, black, or green. But get your orders in now for the Trump Claus knit sweaters by heading on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and checking them out.